Good Friday. Happy Friday, y'all. It is good to be back. Them weeks go by so fast. I hope y'all had a beautiful Christmas. It's over with. Went and came. And I'm glad. I am glad I made 65. Praise God. Thank you, God, for everything that you do and the things that I don't even know that you're going to do. But thank you, God. Okay, y'all, we're going to open up with a moment of silence, Father, by the ones who's struggling inside and outside of the walls of addiction. Let's take a moment. My God, my God, my God. Okay, we are talking about addiction once again on a Friday after Christmas. I want to give a shout out to all the ones who celebrated Clean Time in the month of December and birthdays. I don't want to forget your birthdays. I want to give a shout out to the ones that's in treatment, inpatient, outpatient. Shout out to the counselors, the therapists, for the work that y'all do. And I don't take it lightly because I knew what you done for me. So for that, I am so grateful. I also want to give a shout out to me and to the other ones of our loved ones that wasn't here this Christmas, that was maybe here last Christmas or haven't been here for a couple of Christmas or a few years. No matter what years, they wasn't here again for this Christmas. And I give a shout out to you all for trying to go head on and do your thing and still live and hold on to the memories and count your blessings. Because you have other peoples here on earth that still loves you. So you have to always remember that. Shout out to you all too, because sometimes it's a struggle for me. Just like it's a struggle for you to lose our kids or bury our kids or our mothers and fathers and sisters and brothers. And somehow, by His grace, just say somehow, by His grace, I made it. You will make it too. So tonight, guess what? We are talking about addiction. We are talking about addictions, how it have destroyed people's lives and how it has helped people's lives and how we have overcome. I put a message on there is that we made it. We found our way. We made it. We didn't have to stay stuck. We stayed stuck for a while. I know I did. I can only speak for me. We stayed stuck for a while. But after being stuck, we learned something from it. So this disease of an addiction, shout out to the 12 Steps of Narcotics Anonymous program. Shout out to you. You have done what the big books and the mini books say you will do. You have conquered and helped us learn a new way to live without the alcohol, without the drugs. And I thank you for that. My life haven't been the same. Our lives won't be the same. Your life won't be the same if you let go of the drugs and the alcohol. So tonight we're going to talk about that, how we made it. We made it back. Some of my friends, I have one friend that didn't make it for Christmas Day. And she's not here. And somebody else called me today, was very upset because he had talked to his friends on Christmas night. And today he's not here. So Pastor Ray, I give my condolences to you, to your Deke, who I met. But that's why we ain't promised. Ain't none of us promised today. It's only by His grace that we wake up. It's only by His grace that we find a new way to live without the drugs and the alcohol. But see, I learned how to live without the drugs and the alcohol, no matter what we go through, no matter how things don't turn out, no matter who upset us, no matter what decision we made that we thought was good, but it wasn't good. And you don't stay on that. I'm just grateful because I haven't used today or yesterday, and I'm never going to use. This disease of an addiction did what it was supposed to do back then, but it's not dealing with me no more because I don't let it. I can always pick up and choose to go back. But if I think that way, that's what I do. I had to find a new way to think, a new way to keep myself motivated, a new way to get a good understanding about this disease of an addiction. And this disease of an addiction will cause many to die. It will cause many to harm yourself and somebody else. So you don't have to use. It's just you choose to use. If you can't, I tell people this. If you can't look back over your life and see the chaotic things that you have done up under the influence of drugs and alcohol, shame on you. Because in order for us to recover, we have to go back and look at what we did and what we should have did, what we have found ourselves that we can do to change the way we think. And I don't understand it. And I know it's a disease of an addiction. I hate this disease, but I know for a fact, if you don't learn from your mistakes, then you won't learn at all. Mistakes are supposed to happen to make us better or to keep us stuck. I choose not to stay stuck. Some people just to stay stuck. I choose not to stay stuck because it messed up. When I go back, I was talking to my son and he came down from Oscott and I was telling him, if you don't learn from your mistakes, we don't have friends out here. Son, you don't have friends out there. You have people that are pretend to be your friends, or you have people that, is trying to find out what you do. So, you just got to slow down. I had to anyway. I had to slow down because the drugs and alcohol and the weed and everything else I put in this old body of mine, it almost took me out of here. And some people, we can lay in the house and sit in the house day after day and drink and get high. And I'm talking about me. I ain't talking about nobody else. And get high every day. And that became, the alcohol and the drugs. Hey, Rachel, Merry Christmas to you or Keith. We, had trained ourselves to isolate and to stay to ourselves and drink and pop our pills and do whatever we wanted to do. And we don't bother nobody. But we think we don't bother nobody because we do that. People get worried about us. I know my mother did. I know my sister and brother did because of my drug use. And I stayed isolated. All I wanted to do was drink. All I wanted to do was make an excuse to even drink more. All I wanted to do was make an excuse to get high over and over again. Nothing changed. Wake up to live and live to wake up so I could use again. So I had to learn. I had to really learn this disease. This disease will tell us we okay. We ain't bothering nobody. I can drink. I can drink as much as I want to. But see, in my using, I became very, I allowed myself to come when I was using to hold on to everything that hurted me, every pain that I couldn't control, everything that happened that was out of my control. I held on to that. I held on to the hate. I held on to the misery. I held on to the pain. I held on to where I couldn't sleep at night, tossing, turning. Oh, my life was living in hell. So I don't know what y'all call using, because using set me back further than I ever thought I would go, because now I'm not allowing myself to even feel. because I had to numb myself with drugs and pills and alcohol in order to make it to another day. But that's not how God wants us to live. I thank God for the love that he show us when we don't even show the love to ourselves. You know, all we want to do is drink, sleep, get high. That was me. You know, but see, I come a long ways because I found a new way to live, and I followed the instructions, and, you know, I went to meetings, and the meetings became my lifeline. They were my way to cope. The meetings was my way to cope. And I thank God I learned a new coping skill that as long as I don't put it in me, it won't do the things that it did to me. So I had to figure out some things how to do in my life to change who I was and to change who I can become. And I became so much better without the drugs and the alcohol, without having accidents, without getting further in debt, without having stuff that we supposed to have at a certain age. You know, when I look back at my life, but see, my thing was I had everything. I thought I had everything. I had a house, furniture, 2 or 3 vehicles. I know I had 3 at the time. I'm down to 2 now, but I had 3, you know, and all that didn't mean a bill of beans at all. It didn't mean nothing, because just like I had it, I gave it away to the dope man. I gave it away to the liquor stores. I gave it away to the weed man. All I wanted to do was get high and run. But once I realized that the pain wasn't going away, whether I kept getting high or not, I had to deal with the issues. I had to understand addiction. I had to understand the reason why I got high is because I choose to pick up, and because I choose to not make a difference. Hey, cousin Pam, I chose that. Good to see y'all. God, I chose that. I chose to figure out my life journey. I had to. Because, see, my life journey had became very hectic that I didn't even want to be in the journey. You know, I wanted to be out of my life journey. I didn't want to have nothing to do with it because I lost me just like you all lost you. We lose ourselves when we up under the influence of drugs and alcohol. That's just simple. We lose ourselves and we end up, I can count the numerous things that I know we have done in our youth, and that if we were clean and straight, we wouldn't have done. You know, like I go to bed and I wake up and it's liquor all in the bed and weed and, you know, I just must have smoked and drank myself to death, and went to sleep and woke up like that. And the sad part about it is that when I woke up, I started it all over again. So I had to look at all the possibilities that I could pick something in my life that was going to be good for me and was going to help me. And I choose the 12-step of Narcotics Anonymous program. Now, it wasn't my choice. Let me take that back. I didn't know nothing about the drugs. I didn't know nothing about the addiction. I didn't know nothing about the 12-step program. I was really dumbfounded to all areas of that until one day a God of my understanding gave me the knowledge and talked to me and told me to pick up this yellow book that's been catching dust for years that I never once looked at, and open up and find me a treatment facility because I needed help. I didn't know how to ask for help. You know, I really didn't know how to ask for help. I really didn't want no help. I really didn't even want nobody to know I was a dope fiend or an addict or, you know, a crackhead. I didn't want nobody to know them things. So I choose to not care. You know, we get on that pity pot and we choose to not care. When you look back at your life, that's why you still living. You living to look back at your life and see all the things that you could do different, that you know that cause you harm and pain. You know that. I know I did. I had to really get buck naked, honest, and tell the truth on this disease, because this disease took a lot of stuff from me. It took something that I had to work so hard to get it back. You know, and then on top of that, as we get clean and all of a sudden everything is, you know, we learn how not to use. We learn how to deal with situations. We learn how to deal with problems. We learn how to deal with rejection. We learn how to deal with denial. We learn how to deal with hurt. So as we learn all that, I found myself doing things that I normally didn't do once I got clean, that I would have used behind it. I would have used, because that's the way I lived. I live using every day because somebody done pissed me off, or somebody that said something to me that I didn't like, or I had to go through some changes that I put my own self in, you know, so I had to learn how to deal with coping skills. And this 12-step of Narcotics Anonymous program will teach you coping skills. You know, what do you do when it seems like no matter what you do, it's good enough? I had to learn how to deal with that. I had to learn that, you know, that I am good enough. No matter what people make me feel like, or no matter what people say to me, or matter what I've said to myself and hurt myself, I'm good enough. And I know I'm good enough because I'm still here. And when you know you're worthy, you're supposed to I always look at my past. People say, well, you know, when I got clean, I don't think about the past. Well, I say, I don't know what kind of mind you got, but my mind always let me know or identify with I had a past, just because I'm in the present. And the past is what got us in the present, Narcotics Anonymous program. Hey, Terry, I had to learn that. Didn't nobody, look, ain't nobody, can't nobody make us do nothing we want to choose to do. Can't nobody make us do that. Couldn't nobody make us stop getting high. Couldn't nobody make us get high. Can't nobody make us go to meetings. Can't nobody make us look at ourselves. Can't nobody forgive us like we can forgive ourselves. I had to just really look at some things and see why, Renee, did I keep getting high? Why did I keep making them U-turns to do bad? Why did I keep making the same decision expecting different results when I know the outcome was going to be the same? Why? You know, I had to answer myself, why do I keep drinking when I know I got health problems? Why do I keep drinking? And then when I realized, man, you know, after I did all that drinking, using all this and that, guess what? The pain that I used over was still there. It don't accept the pain. It just make you feel good that you can escape, or you can go to sleep, or you can drink it off. Because you still can't hide from self no matter how much you try. Ain't nobody you can't hide from yourself, because self is what got us in trouble in the first place. So you cannot hide from self, because I learned through the 12-step program that if you don't be honest and have an open mind to even want to learn what is your triggers, what made you get high, what make you keep dibbing and dabbing, what makes you not want to make a turnaround to do better, what makes you. And I understand it's the disease of an addiction. When people say, well, don't you know it's a disease? Yeah, you can tell a person it's a disease of an addiction, but they have to find out for themselves. You know, I had to find that out. Why can I get high? It's a disease. You know, you put them chemicals in your body, and the chemicals, you've been doing this for years and years and years. So this whole body of yours don't know nothing but the chemicals. It don't know nothing but to try to maintain you to keep using so it can destroy and mess up your life and put you in consequence. You know, when I was using, I found myself going to jail. I found myself prostituting. I found myself lying and enabling myself to even want to do better. I found myself becoming very ugly and miserable in this pain of my addiction. Hey, Lorraine. I understood that. I understood that. But what I didn't understand was the disease. I didn't understand why when I pick up a drink and I can, that drink make me feel one way to where I'm sloppy drunk, where I'm falling and pissing on myself or thinking I can get in the car and be the best driver. See, that's that chemical dependent mess that I do understand it now. Because I had to learn how to use the coping skills of what turned me on, what give me that impulsiveness, what tells me that I'm okay when I know I'm not okay. What tells me that my life is going to get better? I'll fix it up and then, don't nobody have to know, don't nobody have to know I did crack. Don't nobody have to know that, I did certain things to get the certain drugs that I need, so we were just a miserable, I'm going to speak about me. I was a miserable, dressed up lie in the uniform of the human body, but made myself look good to the individual eyes. But the individual eyes, I thought, couldn't see me. And I got a eye-opening with that. Because my mother could see me. My mother helped creating me. My mother could see something was wrong. She could see I was in trouble. She could see because I didn't talk. And I got a son right today do the same thing. He don't talk. He don't talk. And I love my son. He was here and he said something to celebrate my 65-year birthday yesterday. He said, I know I ain't been the best son. He said that. And then it reflected on my life. I know I hadn't been the best daughter. I know. But when they tell you got to reap what you sow and what goes around comes around, that's what they mean. Because, see, what I did, some of the things I did in my using, I couldn't stop using. I used every excuse to use. If somebody hurted me, if my husband cheated on me, and I had 3 of them. And seemed like, I must have had cheater wrote on my head or something because all of them cheated. But I found a new way to think. I found a new way. For every atmosphere that I put myself in is every atmosphere I can take myself out of. If I wanted to. If I want to do right. You gotta want to do right. You gotta want to change. Change don't come to people who don't want to change. Change only comes to people that need to change. And that want to change. And that must change. Thank you, cuz. Beautiful 65th birthday. I don't believe I'm still here. It's only through the grace of God that I'm here. I'm telling you, boy, if anybody could have told me that I would have changed for the better, to change the curriculum of the problems that I caused myself, if I had a change to be better and to do better, back then I would have told them they was crazy because I didn't see hope. I didn't see possibilities. I didn't see joy. I didn't see none of that in my lifestyle where I was. All I saw was use to live to use. I hurt. I'm in pain. So I drink and I get high. That's it. Until the pain got great enough. Okay, so what do you mean when the pain get great enough? What do you mean? One girl asked me, what do they mean when they say when the pain get great enough? And I had to look at her and tell her, I said, why are you here? That right there itself says a lot. Why are you here at a meeting? But she was a newcomer. She didn't know. Why are you here? It's the pain that brought us in the door. It's the pain of accepting that we had a problem. And some people don't want to admit that they have a problem. Some people want to, I speak for me. Some people just go through life thinking that this is the way life's supposed to be. But if life was supposed to be like this, we wouldn't have had books written, AA, for Alcohol Anonymous, NA, for Narcotics Anonymous, and CA, for Cocaine Anonymous. See, if life was supposed to be the way we thought it should be, this is the norm. Well, it's not the norm. Hey, Bernice, it's not the norm. It's not the norm to keep hurting ourselves over and over again. And we know that it's messing up our mental abilities to think right, health right. It is hurting our bodies in the inside health-wise. Talking about me, maybe ain't none of y'all experienced that. But I know I messed up a lot of organs in my body doing drugs and alcohol. And I would be a liar to sit here and tell you I didn't. That's why I lost a kidney due to drinking all the time. And diabetes. You know, so I had a lot of addiction. I had overeating addiction. I had lying addiction. I had using addiction. I had behavioral addiction. I have addicted to anything that made me feel good addiction. I mean, I had a lot of addiction. And so when I came into treatment, when they told me I had to, be honest, and after I look back, man, how did I gain all them addictions? The behavior of our character and the character of our behaviors would prompt us to do the things we do. When we up under the influence of drugs and alcohol, we don't care. I know I didn't. I didn't care. All I did was manifest in pain. And long as I manifest in pain, I wanted to get high. And long as I got high, I wanted to continue to get high. But one thing that I did learn in the process of learning about this disease, I never got high like the first high. So everything I was doing was just chasing. I never got the feeling that I got from any first high. It always was, after that, it was chasing. It made me escape, at least I thought. But when I woke up, I realized, man, all the pain and the bull crap that I went through was still there. Did none of the pain go nowhere. I was still drowning. I still couldn't figure out, and sometimes when I look at my kids, I can see that through them. I can see that. A mother or father, or just a sister and brother, can see the things that they think we can't see. Because my mother saw everything in me that I thought it wasn't even visible for her to see it. I became a dressed up liar. I became eager to understand, why do I have to stop using? It's the only thing I thought that makes me feel good. It makes me feel proud of myself. Now, I'm talking about the insanity of drugs and alcohol. I thought drinking and using drugs was my best friend. That's why I turned my whole life and my will over to the care of the drugs and the alcohol. My life was in his hands. I thought I can look good and dress good and still be drinking, still be getting high. Do you know how many times I could have hurt people's driving and drinking up under the influence of alcohol and drugs? Do you know? Do you know I could have caused somebody death on my watch up under the influence of drugs and alcohol? So, all them things that I think about, that we don't forget what pain we went through. Just because we clean, we don't forget what pain we went through. Any addict don't. Every time we go to a meeting, it's a reminder of where we was and where we are today and how grateful we are to stay clean. That's a reminder. That's why we go to meetings. That's why. Sometimes when my life gets so busy, and believe me when I tell you, I'm a person that my life is not it's not boring at all. Everybody keeps me busy. Even I keep me busy. Because I know if I don't stay busy, that's time for the devil to come in and start messing with you. So you got to keep yourself busy, because this disease of an addiction, it's no cure for it. It just only cure that I know, that I actually really know, is that long as you don't pick it up, long as you don't go get it, long as you don't go buy the alcohol and the drugs and the weed, long as you don't contribute into putting effort into going to get it, you will not use. That's the only miracle I see. Is going to meetings. Some people don't like to go to meetings. That's them. I go to meetings, when I can. See, I used to go to meetings every day. Even when I was working for the government for all 32 years, I would go to meetings every day. And then things started happening. Got busy. I had to kind of look at my life, and I wanted to stay busy because I knew how I got high. I got high with loneliness. I got high with justifying that I don't want to be bothered with nobody, justifying that I'm a loner, or, how many people say, I'm just a loner. I stay to myself. I did too. And sometimes that's not good because we need people. God wouldn't have put all these people on this earth for us not to know somebody that can, say something good or be good for us. So I had to stop isolating. That was the one thing that it was hard for me to do, was to stop isolating. Like, can't wait till the kids go to bed so I can go back and continue to get high. Or I waited till they go to sleep, close the doors, get in my car and go find me some dope. Or wait till they go to sleep and come in the house, whip my dope, start drinking and got high, play me some music. And all I needed was me alone and me by myself. That was all I needed. But I found that was something that I planned. That was my plan. That was my self-will thinking, because I knew that I always was scared that I was going to die in the uses of using drugs and alcohol. I wouldn't tell y'all no lie that I thought that somebody or my kids would find me leaped over or in the bed, dying from an overdose. That's how bad I was using, and I had to find a way out. I know I had a problem. I know when my mother looked at me and told me to look at you. Oh, I'll never forget. She said I had stole her money. And she looked at me and she said, you look like a big old gorilla. You ain't the daughter that I know. You talking about deep throat cut? I had turned all dark and, I didn't care. I had crawled on the floor to get the money off her handkerchief and took my time. It took me an hour to do that. So that let me know that them drugs is cunning and baffling, because it told me I can crawl on the floor while my mama was snoring and crawl like a little bitty baby. And it took me almost 45 minutes to get to her. And then when I got to her, it was another 20 minutes, so I could have enough nerve while she was asleep to go in there in her bra and undo the safety pin and take $400-500 out and leave her with a few $100s. Insane. Addiction would tell you, you're okay. But in your human soul, you ain't okay. Because you done lied to get more drugs. You done lied to get money from people to buy your alcohol, your weed. I did it all. But I know I was tired. I know that I didn't even like me no more. People said I was mean. I was boisterous. I was. Ain't no use you lying, because every day that I couldn't get high was a day I was upset. Every day that I couldn't get a drink, it was a day I was upset. And the more I couldn't get a drink and the more I couldn't get high, the more days I was upset. I was nothing nice. That addiction will turn you left from, you won't even know left and right when you on them drugs and alcohol. A mess. A mess. But see, the God of my understanding said, Renee, guess what? Guess what? Something new is going to happen for you. You know, you can't see it now, but something new is going. See, I got to love my babies. He ain't just talking about me. He didn't just favor me. He favored y'all, everybody on this progress, everybody all over the world. That's what kind of God we serve. You know, he told me, he said, I don't have no favorites, but I'm going to give you what I gave to peoples before you. I'm going to forgive you the knowledge to try to tell you what to do so you can get better. And picking up that yellow page was the first step. First step. I was tired. I was tired of, not even having a roll of tissue paper because all my money went on drugs. I was tired of having to asking somebody. And see, I was this proud crackhead. I was this proud dope fiend. I was this proud embarrassment to a person that didn't want to ask nobody for nothing. How can you be proud and you a crackhead? Well, these are the things I have to ask myself. How can I be so proud and I'm a dope fiend? How can I be so proud when I'm down the street chasing boys to give me some crack? And sometimes wouldn't even get crack. Sometimes I got drywall, black eyed peas, but it all looked like crack in the middle of the night. But when I got home, I was mad because it wasn't crack, so I had to go back and they wasn't there no more. So we trick our own self when we come up under the influence of drugs and alcohol. We was tricks. I tricked myself. I didn't need a trick. Even though I tricked myself. I got played so much through using drugs, it ain't even funny. But that's all in the plan. And the plan is when we turn our life over to drugs and alcohol, the plan is for our life to be miserable. Nothing is going to work. Your bills going to get bigger and bigger. You lose your home, you be evicted. That's, and that's why I feel for people who got evicted or homeless. I can't lie. I've never experienced that. Being homeless, because even when I was using and working my job, I was too scared I always paid my rent. That's the honest to God truth. I always paid my rent because I was too scared. I didn't want to be out. Remember, I'm that proud dope fiend, that proud alcoholic. So I didn't want to be to where me and my kids didn't have nowhere to go. See, you can still be proud while you in that pain of addiction. You can still be proud. People don't believe that. But I was one of them proud. I'm a crackhead. I'm dope fiend. I use, but I'm a proud one. I don't want to show you that I'm ashamed. I don't want to show you that I'm hurt. I don't want to show you that I'm in my feelings. It's personal for me. I didn't want to show you that. So my thing became to where now I knew I needed help. And the only way I was going to get the help was to prove to myself that I could do it. And anytime that we, hey, you can go in the room, please. Anytime that we can prove to ourselves that we can do something better and different, then we on our way. I was on my way because I knew that I was going to die. I knew that. Ain't nobody had to tell me that. I saw it. I saw the casket. I saw everything. So my thing was, okay, do I want to live or do I want to die? Do I want to stay in pain or do I want to heal? Do I want to keep using or do I want to recover? Everything I wanted told me that I needed help. And I went for it. The hard part, that was the easy part. It wasn't even easy. To walk in by the door made me turn around 3 or 4 times. I didn't even want to go tell nobody that I was a crackhead and I was a dope fiend. And then when I look back over my life, all them people that I laughed at and talked about, that's why I'm so generous now. When I see people that say, can you give me this? Can you give me that? If I got it, you can get it. See, my thing is I got to remember where I was. I got to always have an acknowledgement. I have to look at the pain that I was in myself up under the influence of the drugs and the alcohol. So when I see people, I know what pain looked like. I know what pain feel. I know what pain had me to go through. And so when I see people's like that, It was always a reminder. I can't get through life not being reminded of who I used to be. But I can stay grateful that I'm not that person no more. I'm not who I used to be. I'm not all the names that I call myself. I'm not the dope fiend. I'm not the thief. I'm not the liar. I'm not the taker. I'm not the, I'm not none of it. After I looked at it, I'm not none of the stuff I used to be. And some people still living in, let me tell you now, some people still live in the world of thinking that you're so important. I don't care if I sold drugs, I sold everything, I did it all, you know, and some people will say, well, I'm not coming back to Milwaukee, I moved out of Milwaukee. You got your reason, you know, you can do what you wanted to do. But see, I had to make a point to myself, I'm not running no more. You know, I need to find in my heart that once I change, I didn't have to run. I don't run from nobody. Nobody but the God of my understanding, because I respect him because of all the stuff that he have did for us to give us friends and people that's recovering like that. So I don't have a like of friends. I have millions of friends, you know, because it was a time when I can count the friends on my fingers. Them the ones I use with. You know, so, you know, now I got friends that's recovering just like me, and some of them are more special, and some of them you know, I look at myself, you know, that I know what God have did for me. So I know my life has changed. And I have learned through this recovery is that people ain't going to do you like you do them. You know, so get that in your head. Just because you get clean and everything is good and everything is fine, people still ain't going to do you like you do them. They ain't going to do it. Even your kids. Grown kids, they still ain't gonna do you like you do them. We made mistakes like they gonna make some. Ain't nobody exempt from making mistakes. Ain't nobody exempt from putting themselves in trouble. Because it's easy to get into and harder to get out of. But some way I found a way to get out of that. I turned my will and my life over to the care of God as I understood him. Everything that they suggested to me, everything they told me I needed a sponsor, but because you told me that, you know, I'm still hard-headed coming into the program. You know, I'm going to take my time. Too many people got too many problems going on with everybody. I don't want nobody to know my sponsor. And they don't. And it's been over 35 years and don't nobody know who my sponsor is, and I'm going to keep it that way. Because, see, that's personal for me. And that's personal. Because I found the person that could tell me the raw. Keep it real. Don't sugarcoat nothing for me because I'm hard-headed. That's why I did the drugs and alcohol so long. That's why I say sometimes when you reap what you sow, you can see it. You can see it. You can see it in your kids. You can see it in your friends. You can see it in your associates. You can see it. And so now my life is consistent of I'm going to do right no matter what happens. No matter what you do to me, I'm still going to do right. Because, see, I was the type of person that did wrong definitely when you did me wrong. But I don't do that now. Because people's got addictions just like I do. And I don't know all of them, but I know all mine. And I had to work on mine. And mine was failing to accept accountability for my actions and what I do. So I learned how to accept that. So no matter what happens in my life, no matter who do me harm, no matter who do what to y'all, you have to learn how to keep it moving. Keep it simple. Keep it moving. Don't let distractions take you from what you need to do for yourself. You know, I was tired of being a follower. I'm saying, people say, well, what's a follower? Well, a follower to me is that, you know, I didn't follow people, but what I did, I followed the wrong and I allowed the wrong thing to come in my life. Because all my life, I can truly tell you, I've been a loner. I was okay with being by myself. But then, you know, I started using and drinking because I was in pain. And I didn't know how to get out of the pain. I didn't even know how to try to express to people how I really felt. I had a problem with that. I remember my godmother saying last night at my birthday party, I remember her saying on broad camera, on live, you know, I got a sweetheart, but I don't want nobody to know it. She read me, you know, because I'm so grateful for where I'm at today. I'm grateful that he found enough time to love me and nurture me to get me back to good health again. You know, I was messed up inside and out. You know, when you start using them drugs and alcohol, it becomes the only friend you want. Because as we isolate and we demand that we continue to keep using, you know, I had to validate. I had to really look at my life for what it really was. It was messed up. You know, every day that I got up, it was a lie. Every day that I still smoked and drank and got high and told myself I can do better and didn't was a lie. So I had to start telling the truth on me so I could heal and get better. I had to tell on this disease of an addiction. I had to figure out what kept me getting high. It's something that keeps people drinking. It's something that keeps people getting high. Y'all can say what you want to, but a person that drink every time they get, if a person drank every day or every other day until they fall out, pissy drunk, something wrong. Something wrong. They running from something. They remembering things. They can't get it out their head. They full of pain, you know. And that's why I always said that, because that was me. The more I got high, the more I wanted to get high, to run from the pain, run from the nightmares, run from a lot of stuff. So when I came in, I had to come in humble, willingness, forgiveness, acceptance, accountability, responsibility. I had to learn all these different things that came along with my addiction that I used to use from. So once I learned how to surrender, that was the best gift at the starting point. I had to surrender. Yes, I was going to die. You know, I was going to. You know, I knew my kids would be taken care of, but I still was going to die. So I had to learn how to get some acceptance that, Renee, if you don't change, if nothing changed, mama can't change you, daddy can't change you. You have to learn how to change within yourself. See, I grew up holding on to hurt. My pain started when I was 5, 6 years old. And so I just, you know, I ate myself to death. Every time I had my personal feeling as a little kid, I found my best friend in food. And I didn't even have to eat I wasn't even hungry, but I would eat anyway. Because that void that was missing that I had took up was the food. And then it went from overeating, and then it went to alcohol. You know, Daddy had all them bars, taverns, Mama and them. You know, we always lived around, you know, the bars, and I could steal drinks and go down and I became a drinker before I even knew that I was a kid. I would slip a drink. Because I see other people drinking that. They all of a sudden they start off slow, and then all of a sudden they take a couple of drinks and they all over the floor. And so I'm looking at a little kid watching all the go-go dancers and all them. And I was like, well, what kind of drink is that? Because that person was sitting at the bar like it had lost his best friend. Just sitting there staring. As soon as he took them drinks, boy, he was up dancing and screaming and buying people's drink. And I said as a little kid, what kind of drink is that? My impulsiveness wanted to find out. And I said, ooh, this drink feel good. it make me, well, everybody know when I get to drinking, I get funny as heck. They say I'm already funny, but I got funny and, I had so much. Still, I was out of character because I wasn't in my right mind. So I had to learn the disease of an addiction. People's going through it right now. People's going through it right now. I had a phone call at 6 o'clock this morning. I was so drained from cooking and having all the peoples and the food, and at 6 o'clock this morning, this person called me and this person was crying because they had lost their clean time. And the only thing I knew to do was wake up. And everybody know I say, I'll call you back. I'm asleep. But I had to wake up because I've been there. I've been where I was so lost. I never lost my clean time. I couldn't experience that. But just to know that it could have been me that lost my clean time, and this person was really crying. Renee, can I see you, Renee? I lost my clean time. I went out with my friends, and she had 12 years clean and lost it in one night. See, I had to let go of the people, places, and things because that what kept me using in the first place. And I had to tell her, now it's anonymity and I can't call her no name, but I had to tell her, you knew better. You put yourself in that situation because you knew better. Ain't nowhere in the world you could be clean 12 years and I see you at meetings and I know you and we went out together and we do things together. You've been at the convention. How in the world did you premeditate, set yourself up to go where you know we can't go because we can't use? They ain't recovering addicts, but we are. And she was crying, but I didn't feel that. I felt, how did you get yourself in that situation? How? Call me at 6 o'clock in the morning and you crying. You've been clean for 12 years. You knew better. That's the only thing I can tell you to do is get back around the table. Get back to the meetings. I'm not going to put myself in that situation. If you drink and use, I got to leave you alone. If you come in my life and you want to use drugs, how many guys have I let go? I don't play with my recovery. My recovery is the only thing that I know that's been accountable for my action. It has been so good to me. I refuse to ever go back to drugs and alcohol because if you go back to drugs and alcohol, you might not make it back. I know I wouldn't make it back. Because I was that type of addict. Once I'm gone, I'm gone. Once I'm using, I'm gone off to the race. She called me and I had to let her have it. I know it's a disease. Understand me. But me and her know better. What happened? Why did you agree to even meet somebody at a bar? Why? We can't go to bars. Can't do that. We can't use no matter what happens. We can't use if our children die. We still can't use. If my husband or my boyfriend be caught cheating, I can't use. I can't use. Girl. And you put yourself out there like that. Yeah, I'm mad. One of my best friends. I bet you didn't call me and ask me to go. She wasn't going to do that. Because you know what I would say. I didn't get clean for nobody but for me. And the God of my understanding, because I made promise to him and I'm going to keep it. I don't use no matter what happens. And I mean a whole lot of stuff done happen. Hey, Auntie Wanda, it's my auntie on here. All kind of stuff happens. And the only thing I hate that addicts do is that they wait till something tremendously happen. And the first thing they say, I'm going too much. I was hurting. I went through much. I was going through too much. And I used. No, you, in your mind, you was going to use before you even picked up. Because, see, my mama died, my son died, my boyfriend died, my husband died. Oh, I had a lot of them to die on me. People that truly loved me, accepted me for who I was. We don't need to make excuses when excuses we know could be made. But when you've been clean multiples of years, 12 years, how did you allow yourself to fit in when you know you wasn't supposed to be in? I ain't going nowhere. I ain't going to no bar. Now, I have went to a bar with my family like a family thing, but honey, my favorite drink is cranberry juice. And I don't stay long because I'm an addict. I ain't finna sit up there and just nurture and play with myself like, things don't. So I come in, show up, and then I leave. But why would you go there and you know it's a party? Why would you stay? You calling me at 6 o'clock in the morning. You done lost your clean time, and look how long it took you to get that clean time, and look how quick it was for you to lose it. And she said, Miss Renee, I know, I'm so angry and mad at myself. What, afterwards? You should have been angry for even thinking about going and even pulling up. You should have got angrier. That's what I told her. I can't put people on a pity pot. I just can't. Because I'm not putting myself on there. I'm not going to use. Simple. I ain't going to nowhere where I know I can. I ain't going to let you put me in no arm's way. The books tell us, the 12 steps of narcotics that tell us we can't go around people's places and things they use. And that was that was so true. I had to learn on my own. Yeah, I'm clean. I want to stay clean. I ain't letting nobody take me off my square. We can get, I tell people I'm unbreakable. I can get broke, but I'm not going to stay breakable. You might hurt me and I broke from that, but then I'm breaking myself from being breakable. Breakable. And I tell y'all, so y'all get ready, the ones that come into recovery. People ain't going to do you the same way you do them. They don't see you like that. They don't see, people think I'm lying, they don't see you like that. And all I do, I still count the blessings. I thank God for him keeping me here, and I'm still here. But, I had to look at some things. And I understand that I got to do better and stop giving me so much. Stop giving of me. I find myself even in recovery that I give a lot of me. I try to be nice to people but guess what? I got to be more nicer to me to realize that I can't be nice to certain people because some people ain't on that level. I got to understand that. I ain't looking in for nothing in return. Sometimes it's just like you like being in a person present. Or sometimes you like seeing a person. But I found out even in recovery, you got people that still ain't, they not using, but boy, they standards and they behavior is totally wacko to me. But I always have to stay focused on me. I can't use no matter what happened. I buried my son, I couldn't use. I buried my mother, I could not use. I buried my good man. I'm talking about my good man, good man to me. I could not use. So I can take if you want to be mean to me. I can take that because I ain't going to use. I can take if something happened and you die on me. I can't use. We can't use no matter what. They said we can't use no matter what happens. No matter how we feel, we can't use. Because when we use, we lose. And I'm not going to stay addicted to something that really don't like me. And I know drugs and alcohol don't have no love for me. So I thank y'all so very much. I want to get off on time. Thank you, Bernice. Thank you, Cousin Pamela. Thank y'all, Wanda. Thank you, Keith. Thank you, Bernice. Thank you for somebody else that came on here. But thank y'all. You know, I try to be committed. You know, I try to have something different or say different things, or, you know, I'm trying to keep up the commitment that I made to God, because he gave it to me, and I want to respect him and not, you know, just get on here for, no, it's a lifetime deal. Me and him got a contract together. You know, he told me what to do. I agree. I admitted it. I made a promise, and that's the promise I'm going to keep. Just like I made my mother a promise. I said, Mama, I'll never use again. And she was a part of my process. So a lot of people's in recovery met my mother. You know, a lot of people got a chance to hug her, but my thing is, I made too many people a promise to break it. And the main person that I made a promise to was myself. And I'm not going to break it for nobody. I know how to move around. I know how to, you ain't on my level. It's okay when people ain't on your level. It's okay when it ain't working out. It's even okay when you find out your mate or your boyfriend or your girlfriend lied to you and used you and manipulate you. Let that be a lesson. That because we are clean and because we don't use, don't mean we supposed to be accepting to anything and everybody that comes into our life and let them get away with it because we choose to belong to somebody or say we have someone. I used to be that person too. I had to have a man. I had to have two. I had to have three and sometimes in my life. Y'all think I be playing. But anybody that know me know I was something else. I was something else. And y'all don't understand, but I am so grateful that I am not that same past story. God knows. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful for knowing that he still loves me. I'm grateful to the 12 Steps of Narcotics Anonymous for the ones who still struggling. Y'all don't have to struggle. You know, the ones who still out there struggling, you know, y'all want to pull some of y'all family members in or bring them to a meeting or text me like y'all be texting me all the time. Renee, where's a meeting? Where can I go? And I'm always open for telling somebody where they can go and get some help. But, you know, watch your loved ones because, you know, most addicts and most users don't say nothing. They don't say nothing. I didn't say nothing for years. For years. I got high alone. After the one who put it in my weed after he died, I got high alone. I didn't sit up. My kids didn't see me getting high. They didn't see. They knew something was wrong with stuff when a certain man come by and my TV is rolling out or my jewelry is getting put in his hand. They knew something was wrong. Kids is real smart these days. But I thank God they ain't never seen that no more. Because you know why? I want to live. I have to live. I have to change my life. I want to see my mother and my son and my husband and my boyfriend again. I want to see the people that I knew that love me again. So I have to nurture me at all times, no matter what happens. You know, it's okay to be your best friend for a change. I'm my own best friend for a change, y'all. So I thank y'all. Thank y'all for allowing me to come into your living rooms and come into your life. Thank you for understanding me. You know, I believe we are on step 8. For Sunday at 2 o'clock, we made a list of all persons whom we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. That's a good step, very good step. You know, so Sunday, you know, Merry Christmas to y'all. A Happy New Year's coming in. It's so many. It's about 4 things that I would take into consideration of 2026 that I need to work on and change. And I'm going to do that. You know, I always give myself some pointers of what I need to look at for 2026. 2025 has been a good year. Trying year, but a good year. So, y'all be nice to kind to somebody. And if ain't nobody told you they loved you, say Miss Renee says she loved you. Be honest to yourself. Stop lying to yourself. Talk to somebody if you need to talk to. Recovery is about change. And if I could change, woo! Do y'all hear me? If I can change, any human being can do the same thing. Bless y'all. I love you. I'll talk to y'all Sunday. See you later. Do something nice and kind for someone today. Good night.